You know, we've all heard the same advice a million times. If you want to be more productive, you just have to manage your time better. But what if that's all wrong? What if the whole idea is flawed from the start? Today, we're diving into the work of author David Kadavy, who argues that for creative work, the real secret isn't managing your time, it's managing your mind.
This quote from the sculptor Constantine Brancusi just absolutely nails it. It gets right to the heart of the matter. The biggest hurdle we face isn't a lack of hours in the day. It's getting our own heads into the right space to actually create something meaningful.
Does this look familiar? For so many of us, this is what productivity looks like. A calendar that's just a wall of color-coded blocks, every single minute scheduled and optimized. It's like a game of Tetris, but with your life.
And from there, it just gets more intense, right? We're not just organizing our time anymore, we're trying to literally compress it. We're listening to audiobooks and podcasts on triple speed, trying to mainline information. But are we actually learning anything, or just checking a box?
So what's the real consequence of living like this? Well, our anxiety goes through the roof. The pressure to make every second count it's relentless. And it leaves us constantly feeling like we're behind.
And the end result of all this hustle? Pure, simple exhaustion. You're trying so hard to squeeze more out of your day, but you just end up with no time and, even worse, absolutely no energy. Sound about right?
Okay, so let's dig into this. Why does this approach, this obsession with time, so often blow up in our faces? Let's talk about the tyranny of time and the big, fundamental flaw in this whole philosophy.
Here's the simple, honest-to-goodness truth. You can only squeeze so much out of your day. Time is a finite resource. You can't just keep pushing and expect to get more and more out of it. It just doesn't work that way. This chart shows it perfectly. It's a basic idea that applies to our energy just as much as anything else. At first, sure, putting in more effort gets you more results, but you quickly hit a point of diminishing returns. And if you keep going past that, you actually start going backwards. You become less productive. That right there, that's the fast lane to burnout.
And look, this isn't just a theory. It's a real story, perfectly captured in the experience of author David Kadavy himself. His own struggle with burnout led him to a pretty incredible breakthrough. So, Kadavy gets a big book deal. He does everything the time management gurus tell you to. He cleared his schedule, outsourced his chores. He had literally all the time in the world to just sit down and write. And what happened? Absolutely nothing. Total crushing writer's block. He even started having physical pain because of the stress.
So he's at his wit's end and he escapes to Costa Rica. And one day, he's walking down a gravel road and has this completely random, simple conversation with a local guy named Diego. They just talked about the weather, the ocean, nothing important, but it changed everything. He felt relaxed for the first time in what felt like forever.
And that was the aha moment. After that one simple chat, he went back and the words just poured out of him. He finally understood. The problem was never, ever about a lack of time. It was about not being in the right state of mind.
What's so cool is that Kadavy's epiphany actually points to some really fascinating science about how our brains work and how we come up with those brilliant new ideas. So, what's really going on in our heads during those aha moments?
Well, it boils down to two different ways of thinking. First, you've got divergent thinking. This is your brain in exploration mode, going wide, making weird connections, just brainstorming like crazy. Then you have convergent thinking. This is where you narrow your focus, pick the best idea, and actually execute it. Real creativity needs a dance between both of these.
All right, let's put your brain to the test. Here's a classic insight puzzle for you. What single word can you combine with all three of these? Pine, crab, and sauce. I'll give you a second.
So right now, as you're puzzling this out, your brain is doing something incredible. It's not just checking the obvious connections. It's scanning its entire network, looking for those quieter, weaker links that can tie all three of these different ideas together.
Did you get it? The answer is apple. Pineapple, crabapple, and applesauce. Notice how the answer probably didn't come to you piece by piece? It just sort of popped into your head all at once. That sudden flash, that little spark, that's what scientists call an insight. It's not a slow, logical deduction. It's a sudden breakthrough. And the key to being more creative is figuring out how to have a lot more of those moments. So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do we set ourselves up to have more of these aha moments? How do you find what we could call your creative sweet spot? Well, the big idea here is actually pretty counterintuitive. If you want more creative insights, you need to fire the CEO of your brain. Yeah, you heard me right. Give the boss the pink slip.
So this CEO is your prefrontal cortex. It's the logical, planning, get things done part of your brain. It's great for making spreadsheets and suppressing the urge to eat a whole pint of ice cream. But it's an absolute creativity killer because it filters out all the weird, random, weak connections that insights are made of.
So when is the CEO not really paying attention? Right when you wake up. You know that groggy, fuzzy state of mind before you've had your coffee? That isn't a bug, it's a feature. That is your creative sweet spot. It's when your inner critic is quiet and your ideas are free to play.
And the way to put this into practice is with Kadavy's first-hour rule. It's so simple. Before you check your phone, before you read an email, before you do anything else, you spend that first precious, groggy hour on your most important creative work. That time is sacred. Protect it.
So, let me leave you with this thought. What if tomorrow morning, instead of reaching for your phone, you reach for that big project you care about? What kind of breakthrough could you have in that one magic hour when the CEO of your brain is still fast asleep?